subscribe. Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video where we will learn a lot of interesting information about different types of dinosaurs. Here we can already see two herbivorous dinosaurs. On one side, we have a big Triceratops. As you know, it was characterized by the 3 horns on its head. On the other side, we have another large herbivore, also from the same family as the Triceratops. But we can see some differences. For example, instead of having 3 horns on the top of its skull, it only had 1, which was also very large.
This dinosaur is called Styracosaurus. We will take a closer look at them later, since they have sounds and lights.
For now, what we're going to do is open our mystery box, because the inside is full of different dinosaurs. We're going to learn a lot of interesting information about them. Look, we have a lot to discover, and we also have, as you can see, let's take them all out to learn their names and some of their characteristics. Let's see which one comes out first, and it looks like we have a big carnivorous dinosaur. We're also going to experiment with the different textures of the figures, since this time, as you can see, the figure is one of the soft ones, since its skin can be stretched, and also the inside is filled with little cork balls. Dilophosaurus was one of the first large carnivores that existed. It could reach about 9 meters in length and an approximate height of about 2 meters. As you can see, it was characterized by the 2 crests it had on the top of its head, which are very similar to a rooster's comb. As you can see, it walked in a bipedal way, since its hind legs were much larger and more robust than its front legs. However, they were quite long, and it used them to help itself while eating, to be able to grab its prey, or to catch the meat and bring it to its mouth. It had a large jaw full of sharp teeth. It lived on planet Earth during the Jurassic period, more than 200 million years ago. Let's see which one is next, and we have one of my favorites. It's a large herbivorous dinosaur called Stegosaurus. The Stegosaurus was known for being a very big and robust dinosaur. In addition, it had large bony plates on the top of its body. As you can see, the bony plates were of different sizes and were arranged in 2 large rows. Do you know why it had them so it could defend itself this way? When a predator came to sink its teeth into it with its big mouth, these bony blades prevented them from being able to bite. And normally, almost all herbivorous dinosaurs had some physical feature that helped them defend themselves from predators. In addition, it also had a defensive tail, with 4 large spikes at the tip that it used by swinging from side to side to defend itself. A curious characteristic of the Stegosaurus is that its head was very small compared to the rest of its body. It could weigh about 5 tons. It walked on all 4s. As you can see, it had 4 large legs, although if you look closely, the hind legs are bigger, because it needed to have a lot of strength in the back part to be able to swing its tail with a lot of force. And that way, the tail swing would be very effective. Also, I like this figure because we can squish it a lot too. We'll leave it here and continue with a different one. Look, something is flying out of our box. It's not a dinosaur. It's actually called a flying reptile. There were many kinds of flying reptiles. However, because of its physical features, we already know that this figure is a Pteranodon. It was characterized by having this large horn at the back of its head, but most of all, by this beak. It barely had any teeth, but it did have something very interesting, a small pouch under its beak, very similar to that of pelicans. To be able to store food, it mainly fed on fish and marine animals. It's also soft, and, as you can see, its body was quite toned, It was very slim and is very reminiscent of the physique of modern bats. However, the Pteranodon was gigantic in size and had a wingspan of more than 2 meters in length on each of its wings, the hind legs. It had strong claws that it also used to catch food, so it would always fly over areas like rivers, seas, and oceans. And if it spotted any kind of fish, it would dive down and try to catch it to feed itself. Impressive, isn't it? A giant among fish, and we keep discovering interesting information about dinosaurs. This time, we have a herbivorous dinosaur. It was a giant among giants, and as you can see, it had a long neck. There were a lot of different species of long-necked dinosaurs. However, based on the physical characteristics we're seeing, I would say that this time it's a Diplodocus. As you can see, it had a long neck, but it was also characterized by having a long tail, which was whip-shaped because it was very thin at the tip. This was its defensive weapon. It could whip its tail very quickly to defend itself from predators that tried to take a bite out of it. Also, its neck was so long that it could eat the leaves at the top of the trees. What do you think? Unlike Brachiosaurus, which was also a long-necked dinosaur, Diplodocus had larger and sturdier hind legs than its front legs, since it also needed to have tremendous strength in its rear part to swing its tail forcefully, just like Stegosaurus did. As I mentioned before, I also really like the figure because it comes with different textures and also different shades, like these black stripes that run along its entire body. As you can see, its jaw wasn't very big. That's because it only ate plants, leaves, grass, and fruit, unlike carnivores, which needed to have a lot of teeth to chew meat. We'll leave our Diplodocus here and move on to a different one. This is a Parasaurolophus. As you can see, it had a large horn on the back of its head. And I really like this dinosaur because its physical features are very different. Interesting.
For example, do you know what this horn was used for?
It used it to communicate with the rest of the herd, since the horn was able to make sounds very similar to the sounds of a trombone. In this way, when, for example, a predator came to attack them, if one of them saw it, it would start making sounds to warn the rest of the herd.
So that they would start running and escape. Very interesting, isn't it?
Also, its body was quite strange, robust. Another characteristic is that it was able to walk both bipedally, with its hind legs which, as you can see, were quite large and thick. But it could also walk quadrupedally, using all 4 of its legs. As you can see, the footprints of the Parasaurolophus were quite different. Its toes were positioned in such a way that it could support the entire weight of its body very well. It also had a long tail, and, as you can see, its jaw was small. It only fed on grass. Here's another one over here. By the way, it also lived on planet Earth during the Cretaceous period, just like the great Triceratops. I already talked to you about the Triceratops at the beginning of the video. As you can see, it's a quadruped and also has a very robust body. To defend itself, it used the shape of its skull. As you can see, it had 3 horns. The third horn, located on the top of its nose, was much smaller. The 2 upper horns could reach more than 1 meter in length. Also, on the sides of its skull, it had several spikes as well. Do you see them too? To defend itself, it also had a rather robust tail, and something very characteristic of the Triceratops, as with other herbivores, is that it had a strong beak at the tip of its mouth, which it used to dig in the ground in search of food. And earlier, I promised you that we were also going to look at this figure, as I mentioned. It has sounds, and we can make different movements since it's articulated. It can move its back legs, its front legs, and I really like that because we can leave it in different positions. Crouching, standing up. If we move its head, that's when it makes sounds. We can hear its awesome big roar. Let's look at this other one here. I mentioned that it also has lights. Let's see. This is its big roar, and both its eyes and the horn on top of its nose light up. Let's turn off the lights to see the horn of this Styracosaurus light up. And we're done with today's video. Here we have all the dinosaurs we've seen today. I hope you've learned some new and interesting details. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a super like, and I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And also because this way you help me to keep creating content for all of you. And now, I say goodbye. See you in the next video with more information and interesting dinosaurs. Goodbye, have a fantastic day. Subscribe to the channel. Bye. Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video where we dive once again into the fantastic animal world. We're going to do it to discover all the animals hiding inside the mystery box. Here on the cover, we can already see a bear in the wild. Look how beautiful it is. Plus, we can admire its impressive claws. In today's video, we'll also be using the Animal Encyclopedia. You already know that I really love using books because inside we have a ton of interesting information about all of them. For example, here we have a coati. Look, I like this encyclopedia because it comes with lots of pictures of animals in the wild, which is where they should always be. And now let's open our box to see everything we find inside. Let's encourage our curiosity and learn in a playful way, using all these animal figures. We'll also explore and experiment with their textures. What do you think? If we first take out a sea turtle, as you can see, it has a soft texture. We can also stretch it, and it seems like the inside is filled with little cork balls. As you can see, the sea turtle is characterized by having 4 legs. The 2 front ones are longer than the back ones, but actually they're like flippers, since the turtle uses them to swim at high speed underwater. Some turtles, the largest ones, can weigh over 200 kilos and can reach more than 2 meters in length. In other words, they are extraordinarily large. As you can see, we can notice its mouth with a strong beak at the tip, which it also uses to dig in the sand in search of food. It has a rather flat shell, unlike land turtles, which have a shell that is very curved upwards. Having a flatter shell allows them to be more aerodynamic underwater, making it easier for them to swim. On these pages of the encyclopedia, we have information about the manta ray, and on this side, about the sea turtle. Look at this picture. It's beautiful. We also have information at the bottom. It tells us that it is able to drag all its weight, these 200 kilos, across the sand, which is incredible. That's where it's going to lay its eggs. That is, it comes out of the ocean and walks along the beach until it finds a safe place to lay its eggs. Impressive. It also tells us that some of them have a lifespan of about 120 years. So we'll leave it here and continue with another type of animal. And this time it looks like a reptile is coming out of our box. For now, I already like it a lot because of its colors. It's a type of snake. As you can see, it's also pretty big, and it even makes a sound when we squeeze it. I like it because it has all the details of its scales. We can also see its tongue, which, as you can see, is forked at the tip, meaning it's split in 2. You already know that there are many types of snakes. Some bigger and some smaller, and some of them are constrictors. That means they are stranglers. In other words, some catch their prey by strangling them with their tails, while others use venom. There are some that are so venomous that they could even be a serious threat to humans, so you have to be careful with them. Let's continue with another one. And here we have an animal that is already extinct. It's a type of dinosaur. This time it's a herbivorous dinosaur, which means it fed on plants, leaves, and grass. That's why its mouth wasn't very big. Unlike the big carnivores, like the great Tyrannosaurus rex, this time we have a long-necked dinosaur. Because of its physical characteristics, I would say it's a Brachiosaurus. We know this because its front legs were taller and longer than its back legs. It was like that because it needed to support the weight of this long neck. Also, the Brachiosaurus was characterized by the shape of its head. Look, it had a small bump on the top. It had such a long neck that it could even eat the leaves at the top of the trees. Also, this figure is different from the ones we've seen before. It's made of hard plastic, and it also comes with articulated legs and neck. Awesome! Brachiosaurus was a giant among giants that lived more than 200 million years ago. And over here we have another dinosaur, but this time it looks like it has just been born. Look, it still has the bottom part of the shell. It seems to be an armored dinosaur called Ankylosaurus. I really like the details it has. The figure is also very different from the previous ones. It's soft and it also lights up and makes sounds. On the bottom, we have a speaker. Let's press it to see how it lights up and also to hear its big roar. Thank you. And this is how it lights up. As you can see, it has several colors: blue, red, and green. In the Great Book of Dinosaurs, we have a lot of information about the Ankylosaurus. It tells us that it was also called the armadillo of the Cretaceous. Here in this illustration, we can get an idea of what it was really like. As you can see, its skin was very thick and tough, and it was also covered with a lot of spikes. This was a defense method for when a predator came to attack it. In addition, we have a photograph of the fossilized remains of an Ankylosaurus skull. Everything still preserves the spikes on its head, and we can see these holes, which are its nostrils, as well as the openings where its eyes were. Impressive! Another characteristic of the Ankylosaurus is that its tail had a large ball, or club, which it used to swing from side to side and defend itself from predators. It tells us that it could weigh almost 5 tons and measure about 5 meters in length from its head to the tip of its tail. It lived on planet Earth during the Cretaceous period, and we keep discovering more animals. This time, we have another great dinosaur. It's one of the largest carnivores that has ever existed, one of the greatest predators. Actually, it's the great Carnivorous. This figure is really cool, especially because of its large size, but it's also soft and makes sounds. If we squeeze it, look. We can see the huge jaw that the Carnivorous had, full of sharp teeth. Its head was so big that the sides were flattened to make it lighter. As you can see, it was a theropod dinosaur. It walked on its large, strong hind legs, although it used its front legs to better grasp the meat and bring it to its mouth. As you can see, it has 2 horns that weren't very big, but according to researchers, it used them to deliver powerful headbutts and also to blind its opponents. That is, it usually aimed at its opponent's eyes to blind them, or at least cause some eye injury. It also had a long tail and a small crest of spikes that ran along the entire dorsal part of its body. Impressive, this great predator. We only have a few animals left inside the box. And look, we have a figure. It's a brown bear. The best way to get to know a brown bear, more than with the figure, is by using these images. Take a look. We have several photographs of these bears in the wild. On one hand, we are seeing the bears bathing in the river. They love to take nice dips and also eat fish, which is one of their main and favorite foods. Here we are also seeing 2 little bears, and this illustration or photograph that I love. We can see all the details of their fur. Bears are large animals. Even though they may seem very lovable because of the stuffed animals we've seen throughout our lives, in reality, they are very unpredictable animals. Normally, when we go to an area where bears live, we have to make a lot of noise so they can hear us and leave, instead of coming closer to us. Above all, something very important is also to keep food well secured, because if they smell it and they're hungry, they will immediately come to where we are. So be very careful if we visit areas where bears live in the wild. We'll leave it here as if it were hibernating in its cave. And we continue with another different animal, and this time we have a marine animal. It's an orca, one of the greatest predators we currently have in the oceans. Look, it's also super soft. It's filled with little cork balls here. I don't know why, but has any of them come out? Orcas are known for their colors. They're very striking. They're white on the underside and completely black with these white spots. Here we can see its large dorsal fin and its tail, which it uses to swim at high speed. Also, they love to jump in the water and even do some tricks. And now we've finished today's video. Here at the front, we have all the animals we've met today. If you like this video, you can help me by giving me a super like. And this way, you help me keep creating lots of free content for all of you. And now, it's time to say goodbye. See you in the next video with more amazing animals. Goodbye.